We are live. We are live. Welcome to college football's peek around the corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. You got to make sure you ring that notification bell. Ring that notification bell if you want to support this independent national college football rebel outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Hold on a second. I'm calling a timeout. I am calling a timeout. Okay, my apologies. Too many lights on. Too many lights in this room. I got a whole bunch of different lights going on here. If you want to support this college football independent rebel outpost with a donation, help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, just hit that $, and I will get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio. The studio that sits on the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone call. It is Saturday night. is all right for some PATC. I think we got a very interesting show for you up ahead here. But that's up to you. You do not have to smash the like button. You can wait because you don't know what the content is. You might want to smash the thumbs down button halfway through. But I hope you've enjoyed enough to smash it at some point. First of all, OPD done. You see that guy in the gray shirt? That's you. Now, the name Opie does not stand out like it should be. So I'm going to redo this again. Opie, you're going to find yourself on artwork once again. Hardly anybody can tell that is you. A younger you. We're gonna redo this again. This is the best that I could do under the circumstances, time constraints. Those are my excuses. We are gonna do this again. This is not even the mountain that I wanted, but well. Anyways, so there it is. OP is climbing up that mountain. The SCC dude is ahead of him. And there are the gods. Amazon, Paramount, Netflix, just a few. I would add NBC in there. I would add Fox in there. I would add ESPN in there. Climb up Silo Mountain in the hands of the gods. The triggering of the silo. Can Opie make it up to the top of the mountain? Only if the gods allow him. We are going to go back in time for the second time in this one particular article written by one particular publication in the month of January 2026. We're going to go only a little bit in the article. A lot of it doesn't even, a lot of it became obsolete. It talks about this, it talks about that. We've already been through all, but again, this, look, we're talking about this silo, we're talking about the quick strike. Options are on the table. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't believe anything is imminent. You got to believe this. You got to believe this. I may not. It's obvious I do not do enough walking. It's obvious I haven't added enough salads in my diet. There's so many things you can rip on me for. It's obvious that I haven't increased my singing range, okay? But you cannot doubt this. I am looking for any signs of a hot bubble of action. I am looking for any signs that anything has gone operational. But we're not there. But I keep asking the questions. And when I've been asking the questions, one of the things that need to get done if the trigger happens, most likely, the Big Ten and the SEC, if they're going to go silo, they're going to want to do more games, which they're talking about to their current media partners. And it is most likely that if they go silo, we're not talking Super League, but we're talking, what do you want to call them? Mega conference, super conferences, silo, larger conferences. And where's the money going to come from? Where is the money going to come from? Who's going to pay for this? Remember, the SEC and the Big Ten, they're probably going to want to play more conference games. They're going to want more money. They're going to have to build out their conference staffs. We know that they've been talking to some former and current NCAA staff members because they're going to have more duties to do as a conference. They got to build this out. They want to go international. They're going to do some possible, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. Player representative, collective bargaining, national employment agency, that whatever. These massive reforms, we'll just call them reforms. But whatever it takes, whatever this dangerous, very dangerous step in this direction, to go silo, it's going to take some money. It's going to take some money. So, the question is, does anybody want to get involved in this? Anybody extra? Anybody outside of Fox and ESPN? I think there are strong indications that there are some that will. We do hear, we do hear from a lot of people saying, well, the Big Ten, the SEC can't expand because there's not the money. You're going to bring somebody in, and you're going to dilute the value of the Ohio State Buckeyes. You're going to dilute the value of the Georgia Bulldogs, the LSU Tigers. You're going to dilute the value. The money's not there. But yet, we're all going to make a whole bunch more money if we just pool our rights together, all 138 schools. The Buckeyes are going to make more. The Miami Hurricanes are going to make more. Clemson Tigers are going to make more. Especially the Southeastern Conference teams are going to make more. There's all that money sitting out there ready to jump in to some 138 pool collective. But they're not ready to jump in when it comes to possible expansion of an undervalued SEC conference and a Big Ten conference that's making big bang. I don't think there's any logic to any of those arguments. I'm having a hard time grasping any of it. Now, I am the original Minnesota moron, so maybe it's just me. But we do know, we've been through this article twice. We're going to do it a third time, but only a little bit of it this time. We're going to go back in time, and we are going to resurrect the reporting from the one and only Sports Business Journal that the work has already been done. The work has already been done by some of these. Amazon, Paramount, CBS, Fox. Well, CBS and Paramount owns CBS. But you understand what I'm saying. And I think, I don't know. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it here on this beautiful Saturday, June 20th. And then there's an interesting buzz that is in the air. And I am so happy that Mohr After Dark is in the house. Usually I'm not. Usually I'm not that happy when the evil Buckeye comes trancing in here with his Greg the Cooler propaganda. $5 holla. $5 holla. Greg is so cold that blizzards and nor'easters pay him royalties. God, that's ridiculous. That's terrible. That's terrible. Greg is so cold that blizzards and nor'easters pay him royalties for the weather rights. And then, the little general is in here, and she says, Moen, hi, thanks so much. So now I got to be kind to Mohr After Dark, because the little general says thank you for that very generous donation, and she says thank you for being so kind and for coming on in here. So now I got to be nice to Mohr, even though he just gave me a shot. But overall, I'm glad that Mohr is here, because the chatter behind the curtain and in public here just a couple of days ago is gone right up the state of Ohio. And hopefully Mohr After Dark will be available in about an hour to call the program to give his insight on this situation. He's already given his insight on the situation in regard to the chances that a possibility that the Ohio Bobcats might go to the Sun Belt, for just one example. That they might have some difficulties because they're tied in with the Akron and with all the other Ohio institutions that play in the MAC conference. But I'm wondering if nothing stays the same, right? Nothing is completely static. Then maybe the political stuff is changing in the state of Ohio, because there is threats that Akron and other schools might close. You got Kent State, for example. They may close, or they may not. Maybe take their or not close, or maybe take their FBS and the FCS, or just shut it down. We have known for years how on the edge Eastern Michigan is in regards to keep going to where they're going. So we're going to talk all about that, because the Utah State Athletic Director came out in public and said it out in the open just a day ago, and said expansion is on the table for the Pac-12. And I got a feeling that candidate list is really short. Really, really, really short. And again, it's a combination of school, ones that would be interested, one that could not dilute the value of the Pac-12 schools already there, established. They've only got 18 football members. It sounds like they possibly might be the one that strikes first in the G6 conference for further expansion. I know the reports are out there. They've been talking about a UConn and football only, but then have a scheduling agreement with some basketball stuff with UConn, and it kind of makes sense. For the Pac-12 side, it makes sense. But then you got some other candidates. Not many, in my opinion. Not many. My candidate list is going to be shorter than yours. Anybody else out there? I've asked some questions on this since that article came out on June 18th, since that report came out, which we haven't covered yet. We have been so busy with all these other gigantic stories. So I've asked the questions. I've gotten some answers back. And that candidate list seems to be pretty small. And it sounds like the candidate list, some of it resides in Mohr State of Ohio. So we're going to talk about it. We are going to be talking about it. Thank you, Mohr After Dark, for the $5 holler. We also, so we've got a very interesting show already, right? We also have, what is that, our 50-15? I think it's number 55. The Spotlight, 55 out of 68. And today, it is no other than the Washington Huskies. College football PATC. The spotlight on the dog, on the Husky. Washington Huskies are under the PATC spotlight. And we are going to begin our program with that. Then we'll go into the G6 or the Pac-12 situation. Possible expansion in the near term? In the near term? Possibly. And then we're going to take a look at Silo Mountain, SCC, and Opie. Opie is assisting, looking out for drones. Possibly. Welcome on in, everybody. I appreciate it. We got Studzilla. $5 holla. $5 holla. Studzilla, Greg the Gold is so golden. He managed to trip over a flat surface and discovered an oil well by accident. There we go, baby. There we go. That's it, baby. That is what I'm talking about. That's positivity. That is positivity. That's... Studzilla is an absolute genius, and so far he is the genius of the night in PATC country. Thank you, Studzilla. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for all your help. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Worst clapping ever. Jeez, you guys. Mohr after dark. Greg is so cold that Maria can only cook while he's locked in his office. Wow. And then Maria says, yes, Mohr. But everyone's coming after me today. Everyone is coming after me today. Holy smokes. That's fine. That's fine. I can take it. I can take it. So let's get into our I Do Declare the World Championship competition. We've got an update. We've got a big update. Big update. Now, yesterday, right here. Colorado wins at least 10 games. Expansion crush. Colorado, I spelled Colorado wrong. Colorado wins 10 games. There is some crazy I do declares yesterday. Some bold I do declare yesterday. Expansion crush, that's the valuation of 5 points. If you get it right, you're going to get 5 points. If you get it wrong, you're going to be minus 5 points. Vanderbilt wins the SEC college championship game. Buckeye Greg, that's the valuation of 5 points. Last year, I would have given it a 3 or a 4. But Jared Curtis, the freshman court, yeah, the SEC is stacked with incredible, high-quality, experienced quarterbacks. Charlie Lee, I know he can pull a miracle out. I know he can do that. He did it last year. Well, we got to give it 5. That's a valuation of 5 points. And then Clemson wins the college football game. They win a college football playoff game, I should say. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger. That's a 4-pointer. Not quite 5. Not quite 5. But if it's 4, in the history, it would have been a 1-pointer, a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer. But we're going to give it a 4-pointer this year. And number 88, Illinois makes the college football playoffs. Corey, 34, We're going to give that evaluation a 4. Definitely not a 5. Definitely not a 5. I can't quite give it a 3. I can't quite give it a 3. We're going to give it to the Illinois Fighting Illini Coy 4-point valuation. All right, so that is our I do declare update. I do declare update. All right. Let's see here. We got another. Ooh, I didn't see this. Sorry about that, Cranky Tiger. We got a Cranky Tiger super chat. My bad. My bad. Hold on. I was just getting a pop in that other. Okay. We got Cranky Tiger. I know he's full of positivity. Cranky Tiger, $5 super chat. I know Cranky Tiger would not stab me in the back. That's not even a possibility. Greg is so cold that he drinks liquid nitrogen instead of coffee in the morning. The problem with that is there is some truth to that. Aww. I don't like to drink hot coffee in the morning. I like to drink something cold. All right, let's get off that subject. We're going to get off that subject. Thank you, Cranky Tiger. Thank you for the $5 holler. You're getting too close to the truth. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the $5 holler. Let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. The Washington Huskies. Again, we know how this works. Later in the program, when you give us a call, the floor is absolutely yours. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about in college football. A super chat. Look, you're being generous to the program. You're helping us keep the lights on. You're making it so we can do this every day. You're growing the channel. And the little general and I are very humbled. So on a super chat, the floor is yours. You can talk about anything you want, and we'll talk about it here on this show. The other comments, I will get to them when I can. If it's basic, if it's interesting, if it's creative, if it disagrees with me, we'll try to get to it and put it up on the board. The Washington Huskies. I got a feeling that I'm going to get in trouble with I got a feeling I might get some. Is Go Becky Go Husky Becky Go Husky? Is Becky Go Husky in the house? Is Sergeant Pickle in the house? Look, I usually don't do this until after we go to the spotlight. But I think how do I say this? I'm biased, okay? I have my biases. All right? I try for them not to creep in when I'm breaking down the tape. But again, we got to be honest here. I got Minnesota, my beloved Golden Gophers, finishing 8th. I got Washington finishing 10th. Now, most of you, I would guess 80 to 90% of you would have Washington ahead of Minnesota comfortably. All right? But I don't. I got Illinois ahead of Washington as well. Again, they're a good team. They got really good talent. They kind of remind me of Minnesota from last year. But again, I think this is a young team. Holy smokes. The Washington Huskies are a very young team, and they lost dudes. And I'm sitting here going, I kind of understand maybe why. I mean, Dedmon Williams, he should not have gone to the portal after he signed that contract, that redshirt contract. pretty binding contracts with his own agency dropped him when he did that. He had to go back to Washington, basically. But Washington, are they ready? Are they ready to really jump into the top 4, 5, 6, 7 of the Big Ten this year? I don't think they are. Now, maybe next year, let's go through it. Quarterback, this is a great quarterback. So if they get to the top 4, that's going to be because of this man, Damon Williams, 3,000 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 69.5% completion, 161 quarterback rating. This guy was outstanding last year. Now he had a great receiver who's no longer there, a great running back who's no longer there, Boston and Coleman. I mean, the Huskies lost big talent. And did they backfill it in? Do they have a replacement? Look, they still have a sensational quarterback. So that might be enough. 611 yards rushing. Don't get it twisted. Mr. Williams was absolutely brilliant last year. He was not. Look, I don't want to take shots at the same old Big Ten quarterbacks. So I'll let it go. But Damon Williams had a great year last year. But let's talk about the running back situation. Cal Bears. Washington is solid, but Demon struggled to pass against high-level teams. Just not enough arm talent. Again, I think Washington ends up closer to 6 in the Big Ten. I mean, that's the book on Mr. Williams. He is brilliant. He is a very smart dude. This guy is a high IQ quarterback. He knows the offense. He knows where everybody is. He knows where to pass. He knows when to run. This guy's brain, he's top level. And he's a really good athlete. So you got a really good brain inside that skull, inside that helmet. Damon Williams is one of the smartest quarterbacks around, one of the best athletes around. That arm talent? Now, is he going to develop it? But he don't have that arm talent. Not at the highest levels. Again, this is going to be very highly controversial. All of my spotlights are, because everybody gets mad at me. That's what we do here. He's a really good quarterback. I'm not saying he's not. He's a really good quarterback. But, okay. Very good great quarterback. That is not the issue. What about the running back situation? I wish if Becky Go Huskies in the house, or Sergeant Pickles, or anybody like a USC, Oregon Duck, somebody's got to walk me off the ledge when we talk about the Washington Huskies running backs. I got Quade Carr on here. He was a 3-star. He had a couple of snaps last year. Why am I spotlighting Quade Carr? Well, because I don't know who else to spotlight. Jordan Washington, he was supposed to be the guy, and he may end up being the guy to come after Jonah Coleman. Jordan Washington's got the experience, but he got injured in spring practice, and it was his neck. I don't have any more information on that. They brought in Jaden Lamar, who the Oregon Duck people in the house, they know who he is. He's played it seems like he's been around for 100 years. He comes in the portal. He gets injured. I think he had And I think it's a really bad ankle injury. I think he might have even had a surgery. They brought in Trey Cooley, the Georgia Tech transfer. Well, he's got this ACL thing. He's injured. I mean, again, somebody let me know. Somebody let me know. So come on in here and tell me that everything is going to be okay with the Washington Huskies running game. Now, they do have a bunch of returners on the offensive line. But again, I don't know, guys. I don't know. So let's go to the receivers here. You got Desmond Roebuck, 42 receptions last year, playing. He was the guy who, everybody was on Denzel Boston, the great wide receiver, Washington. This guy was able to get loose, single coverage. He's going to have to be WR1 for the Huskies this year. Desmond Roebuck, 42 receptions, 560 yards receiving, 13.3 average reception, 7 touchdowns. And then who else? Well, they're depending on a couple of freshmen, a couple of true freshmen. Jordan Clay, Mason James. I don't know. They're really young. Washington is extremely young, ladies and gentlemen. They got to be one of the youngest teams in the Big Ten. Young teams, well, statistically, it doesn't happen. Tight end Decker DeGraff, he had a very good year last year. Very good year. 32 receptions, 360 yards receiving. He could be the second most targeted player for the Washington Huskies. Very good tight end. Experience with Denman Williams. The defense. We could have gone with linebacker. They have a very good linebacker crew. Jacob Manu, Xiri Alexander. But we went with Rillon Dillard Allen, 2025 freshman All-American. And he's a lengthy dude. He got in a lot of plays, a couple pass breakups. Washington Huskies are extremely young team. If you take that youth and you go against this schedule, woo! They play Oregon at the end of the year. They play Indiana. They play Penn State. They play the Iowa Hawkeyes. They play the USC Trojans. And they play my beloved Golden Gophers. Golden Gophers are on the road September 26th. And Moen, I know you're listening, Moen. I know you're listening. This is the swinging gate game for the Golden Gophers. So, all that. The youth, the schedule, which is not going to be easy. I could not put Washington in the top 9. I've got them at number 10, right ahead of those evil Badgers. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. Put it down in the comments section. Give us a phone call later in the program. That has been your spotlight on the Washington Huskies. What did I miss? What did I not give enough credit to? What are the complaints of this Washington Huskies spotlight? PATC. And I believe that is team number... team number 55. 55 out of 68 power conference teams we have done the spotlight on. And then we're going to do a handful of G6 teams when we are through with the Power 4, which is a segue after our super chat, very generous super chats and gift memberships. We are going to go right into this story. The Pac-12 expansion is on the table in the near term? And who would be the candidates? I have 4 of them. And I think there's going to be controversy on all 4. I think the candidate list is really, 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 really small, from what I have been told. All right, if they go down that road, I don't think anything's imminent, but an athletic director comes out in public and says it. So just a couple of days ago. All right. First of all, I got to get to this incredible, generous super chats and gift memberships. Holy smokes. We've got Cranky Tiger, 5 gifted memberships. My goodness. Coy 34, Phil Perry, C. Montgomery, Joey Foster, legendary Mountaineer podcaster, and 7-1 Big E's all received a gift membership by Cranky Tiger. When you have an opportunity, please say thank you to Cranky Tiger for his incredible generosity. All 5 of you are knighted officially. Cloak and Dagger College Football. Welcome to the family. Go to our library of episodes. Watch all of them, including members-only episodes, Early Peak, Cloak and Dagger. When you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Cranky. Please say thank you to Cranky. Thank you, Cranky Tiger. I very much appreciate your generosity. Holy smokes. Mohr After Dark. My goodness. Massive gift membership. Wow, Mohr, you did not have to do that. My goodness. LV Seminole. Shave the Banana. Josh Harby. VC Knoll. Dago 88, Colin Murray, which is my nephew. He's absolutely brilliant. He is nothing like his Uncle Greg in every way. B1 Lily, Nerds, VMOs, A1QC1, Doug 343, Scott Peterson Photo, Forward Thinker Trucker, Patrick Boren, the Baylor Bears, Santipon, I don't know what that is. Stan Tipton, Sane, James, Marcella, Josh Gladfelter, Becky Go Husky. I need Becky Go Husky to yell at me for my Washington Husky spotlight. Becky Go Huskies is going to have some words for me the next time she pops up on the College Football Mafia show with Mohr After Dark. She is going to rip on me. Jesse Wilson, Oregon Stacker, all of you have been gifted a membership by the incredible, generous Buckeye Moen. All of you are knighted. Cloak and Dagger. Welcome to the college football family that is all about Cloak and Dagger. When you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Moen. When you get an opportunity, please go to the video library of episodes, including members-only episodes, Early Peak, Cloak and Dagger. Welcome aboard. All right. Mohr After Dark, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Very generous. I take back. I can't even remember how I ripped on you today, but other than calling you an evil Buckeye, but I even apologize for that. Moen wakes up every morning thanking God that the Gophers are not on the Buckeye schedule. I couldn't get through that without laughing. I was supposed to say that deadpan, but I screwed up. Thank you, Moen. I appreciate it. We got Kenneth Maynor. Kenneth Maynor. I am very interested to hear what Kenneth Maynor has to say about all this stuff that we're going to go into right now. Kenneth Maynard, G6 turf war is heating up. Expect the American to pursue James Madison for full membership. They are an affiliate already, a member already, correct. Miami of Ohio, Toledo, and possibly either Old Dominion, Coastal Carolina, or App State. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard. Thank you for the $10 holler. I appreciate it. All that forces of consolidation is in the G6 right now. So yeah, there is it's just gonna it's nothing stays the same. I'm sorry. Realignment never sleeps, regardless of the Cruz Campbell bill. So now I will say this. I do not have, for example, and I'll give you a little peek into our story that we're going to be doing next year. I do not have, I got to be honest with it, PATC does not have, we've been told, so we're going to go with this. If we're wrong, we'll take the L. I do not believe that there is the possibility right now of a Texas two-step in the Pac-12 conference. I do not think that North Texas or University of Texas San Antonio are candidates for Pac-12. Now, Kenneth Maynard knows this. You know, University of Texas San Antonio and North Texas, they do not make, their conference payouts are not anywhere close to East Carolina, his Pirates. But they do take a jump here in the near future. And I just don't, especially University of Texas, San Antonio. I don't think the Roadrunners would have any interest. And I don't think the Pac-12 would have much of an interest. Because they're real. I mean, they have the same location basically as Texas State. Now, North Texas, I think that North Texas would be my 5th team on my 4-team expansion candidate list for today. So if I want to extend it out to 5 teams, North Texas would be the 5th. But I don't think they're going to be interested. We shall see. We're going to find out. Kenneth Maynard, thank you for the $10 holler. I appreciate your generosity so very much. We've got Buckeye Greg, who just lit it up on the I Do Declare with a new prediction. Peek around the corner membership given to Texas Kid 423. Thank you so much, Buckeye Greg. Texas Kid, welcome to the family. Welcome, gifted membership. When you get an opportunity, please say thank you. In the chat room, to Buckeye Greg Disney Adventure, Texas Kid, you are knighted, college football cloak and dagger. Thank you, Buckeye Greg. I appreciate it, sir. Appreciate all the help you give us at Peek Around the Corner. Very much thank you for all your time and your generosity. Thank you, Buckeye Greg. I appreciate it. All right, we've got we've got Evil Badger. Evil Badger. I just gave him an elbow because I got Washington finishing 1 spot ahead of Wisconsin. And Evil Badger knows that I am going to be Greg the Gold this year. So he knows that his Wisconsin Badgers are going to finish exactly in 11th place. But yet he is kind enough to give me a $10 holler. Andrew Brandt, former Packer executive, said he's done some work for colleges. He said that the agents won't consider multi-year contracts. He believes the Protect College Sports Act will pass. All right. All right. Scary, scary times. Scary, scary times. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it today. I don't want to lose it. I want to be professional. I want to be professional. Thank you, Eva Badger. Thank you for the $10 holler. My goodness. Holy smokes. Massive super chat. Wow. Ricky Tungate. Reigning, defending Big Ten, reigning, defending national champion. Greg, for your next date night with the Little General, congrats on your growing members. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. The Little General and I, very humbled. Massive $100 holler. My goodness. I'm very humbled by your kindness, Ricky Tungate, and all of your kindness today, guys. Very much appreciate it. It makes me even more motivated to give you guys an entertaining and informational show on a Saturday night. I thank you, Ricky Tungate. You guys are way too kind. Way too kind. The Little General always says that. I don't, but she does. So thank you. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. Wow. I will take her on a date. But it ain't going to happen tonight. Because I got to be honest with you. The Little General is cooking right now. And she's cooking something up very special. She's got Indian food tortillas. Freshly made Indian curry tortillas. She's going to put potato in there. She's going to put onion in there. She's going to put green pepper in there. And she's going to put maybe sausage in there. There's one thing that's not going to be in there. There is one item that the Little General is not going to put in there. Why do you think Indian food is so fantastic? Because it does not mix the cheese with the meat. So the Little General is hard at work. We're hard at work here, chopping it up in college football. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. Thank you so very much. You are correct. They use yogurt, though. Yeah, that's right. They do it. But that's different. That's different. That's a different chemical. I don't need to explain it to you, RT. And if I did, you would not be able to understand my scientific terminology, RT. Thank you for reminding everybody of that, though. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right. Let's get to the story. This is, and then I poked and prodded on this. And it's going to cause some controversy. I'm going to tell you guys. Some of you are going to get really upset with me. Some of you are going to get really, really upset with me. But that's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. So hopefully Moen sticks around, gives me a call later, lets me know what he thinks. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're not on that yet. We're not on that yet. That is a big mistake. That is a big mistake. Hold on. Who is the producer of this show? That was not supposed to happen. That is, we're going to get into that a little bit later. Like I say, we've got an absolutely stacked show today. Hold on. I made a big, big production mistake. I gave away the next story. Okay. Cameron Walker, Utah State, excited to lead Utah State Aggies into the Pac-12. Dana Green, this was 2 days ago. I have sent the questions in, I poked and prodded, and I got somewhat of an answer. We shall see what happens here. Salt Lake City, ABC4 Sports. A new era of athletics is about to begin at Utah State. The Aggies will officially join the newly revamped Pac-12 Conference on July 1st, ending a 13-year partnership with the Mountain West Conference. 13 years Utah State was in the conference. Utah State will join fellow Mountain West members, San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State, along with Texas State and Gonzaga. Gonzaga is in, except for football, of course. I think it's incredibly impactful, said Utah State Athletic Director Cameron Walker. Just the exposure it's going to give the Utah State brand. I've heard ever since I got to Logan that we were one of the best kept secrets in college athletics. I think this helps reduce the secrecy of what we're doing in Logan, Utah. With a new television deal, the revenue brought in will more than double to around $7 to $10 million. Plus, Utah State has seen a huge uptick in NIL donations this past year to bring better athletes to Logan. The fundraising is going to be going phenomenally, Walker said. Revenue-wise, just on what we've been able to fundraise, we'll finish this year about 4 times of what we were last year in cash donations. But we don't want to stop there. We want to continue to try and double that next year. With just 9 members, 8 in football, the PATC money shot of the article. With just 9 members, 8 in football, the conference could look to expansion in the near future. Quote, I certainly think that expansion is on the table, Walker said. I certainly think I certainly think. Yeah, they've had more than one discussion on this, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly think that expansion is on the table, Walker said. I think what we have to focus on in the league is quality over quantity. So it's probably going to be a very skinny expansion, right? A very small scoop expansion. 1 or 2 school expansion. Who's going to move the needle from a brand wise? Brand. Brand. What candidates are out there that would be willing to possibly look at going to the Pac-12? Who would bring some sort of value to the Pac-12? And one of the criteria, if not the main one, maybe it's not geography, maybe it's brand? Bronco Mendenhall led Utah State back to a bowl game in his first year as the head coach of the Aggies football team, and Walker sees Mendenhall's success will continue to build going in the next 2026 season. The great thing about Coach Mendenhall is he's really committed to building it the right way. Walker says it's always a long-term vision and establishing the next step. It's really brick by brick type process, but we've gotten a lot better with the depth and our floor has really risen. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The athletic director comes out and basically, it's certainly on the table in the near future. They got 8 football members. It's a tough number to work with. We don't know exactly. I do not. Look, I've asked the question. I do not know what the Pac-12 media rights. I don't know what they're getting per team. I'm going to go ahead and guess. I'm going to speculate that it's between 10 to 12 million per school within a year or two within the contract. I don't think it's 7, 8, 9 million. I could be wrong. There's been different people saying different things. We are going to find out once they, go through a year and then reports come. The reports that we see in the spring are a year old. So we're really not going to know for a while here, about 18 months, what the contract really is about. But we do know this. When it comes to, if you're going to compare the Pac-12 and the American, there is really not an incentive for the American schools to go to the Pac-12 at this point. Now, the Pac-12, I think, is probably given some sort of incentives to try to lure a Memphis and others. But I don't think any of the Americans are on the candidate list, with one possible exception, and that is North Texas. You can see why the Pac-12 would want, we talked about it previous, the two-step in Texas to get in the Dallas suburbs. San Marcos, Texas State, it's a different location in the state of Texas. I don't think North Texas is, I don't think they're interested. I don't think they're going to be interested. I could end up being wrong, but that's not the school that was told to me when I vaulted all these questions out there. The four candidates are the following, which we have been told here at Peek Around the Corner. Number 1, UConn. And that has been reported. And I guess that is a thing out there. It's probably not going to happen. The likelihood of that happening is really small. It doesn't sound like UConn is really interested, but the Pac-12 is. But I don't think they're going to be able to get UConn. But they are that brand, even though the football program isn't the brand. But UConn, you can see it, right? And then UConn, it would be football only with a scheduling agreement in men's and women's basketball, a handful of games. But I don't think UConn wants to put a handful of their games and cut those in half and have 3 or 4 games automatically out west in Pac-12 country. I don't think UConn wants that. But they are candidate. They're at the bottom. But they are one of the candidates. The other 3 candidates that we were told at Peek Around the Corner, and it's going to cause a lot of controversy here. One of them being New Mexico State. I don't really think the Pac-12 has them at the top or even 2nd or 3 on their list, but it is a school they could get. But they do not bring the brand. But they would be all in on all sports. It would not be a football-only edition like UConn. It is a very small candidate list for teams that would be interested in schools that would be interested in schools that the Pac-12 would be interested in. But we're going to name 2 of those right now, and that is Toledo and Ohio. That is in the chatter right now. The MAC conference is going to be a discussion that we're going to be having for the next couple of years. This is the start of the discussion. Toledo and Ohio may never join the Pac-12. One or both of them might join the Sun Belt. But the discussions on what happens to the MAC conference is only going to get revved up from here on in. The enrollment cliff is hitting hard in the MAC. A handful of those schools are already extremely they're walking the edge. They're walking on the edge to make things work. If the Big Ten goes to 10 conference games, that's less MACs. Everything is going against the MAC. They brought in Sacramento State. That brought in some money. Some money that was extremely needed. I don't think you can blame the MAC for bringing in Sacramento State. The Pac-12 did not want to bring in Sacramento State. The Pac-12 wants to bring in Brand. Toledo, if the Pac-12 truly wants to get to the Midwest, finally, that they should have done 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I think their leadership is looking in the Midwest. Northern Illinois is already to the Mountain West Conference. Toledo did not want to follow, or they could not follow. But now every 6 months, the MAC is getting squeezed. The Sun Belt is the competition. The Sun Belt does not pay like what the Pac-12 pays. But if Ohio and Toledo went to the Pac-12, it would be football only. Sun Belt, there's an opportunity to be in more sports, if all sports. But they're not going to get paid, at least now. Sun Belt is an emerging conference, though. But if they went to the Pac-12, football only, there's a reason why Northern Illinois got off the boat. And there is more and more speculation that a couple of more MAC schools are going to get off the boat. And Toledo and Ohio getting off the boat at the same time, going to the same place, politically might be a little bit more advantageous than if they do it siloed, separately. Is it worth Ohio and Toledo to go to the Pac-12? Is it worth enough for the Pac-12 to grab a Toledo and Ohio? To go from 8 football members to 10. It's a lot easier to be a 10 football. It's a lot easier to be a 10-member football conference than 8. Your media partners willing to pay for it. Toledo and Ohio would come in at 50 cents on the dollar. Still, that would be 3 times what they're making the MAC. As a football only. The Pac-12 finally gets to the Midwest. And maybe that would help the media partners with more of a bandwidth of time slots for the Pac-12 football. Pac-12 football would be shown in the Midwest. I mean, is it worth it for Ohio and Toledo? If Ohio can't get to the Sun Belt, what are the options? What are the options? If you go, the Ohio University has just, along with everybody else, a bunch of layoffs just announced. If you go, so when I ask these questions about who the candidates are, there's just not that many. And if the Pac-12 truly does not want to do an expansion based upon quality, if it's not that important to go to 10 members and it's all about the brand, who's really on that candidate list? They have to be talking about somebody. They have to be talking about somebody who has interest. UConn, I don't know, Miami, Toledo. But you do not have an athletic director that says expansion is certainly on the table in the near term. You do not have an athletic director saying that in public. Unless the Pac-12 must have received some interest back. Toledo and Ohio. Do you think that's a possibility? Put it down in the comments section. Let me know. Kenneth Maynard, Toledo and Ohio better off the Sun Belt or the American? I don't think the American are interested in them. In the Sun Belt, you can make that argument. They don't pay, they don't pay like the Pac-12. And that's the squeeze, right? That is the squeeze. Half of the MAC may have to drop the FCS or drop it altogether. So, all right, we got a $5 holler, and we're ready to go on to the big. All these stories are big. Kenneth Maynard, $5 holler. Thank you for the super chat. Hold on one second. I apologize for that, Kenneth Maynard. I apologize, Pirate Gator Maynard. Easier for the 8 Pac-12 schools to join the American and add UConn and James Madison 2014 G6 Super Conference. Where you do have I guess that's a possibility, but there's nothing in the Cruz-Cantwell bill that stops a G6 Super Conference from happening, right? That's interesting. It is. It's interesting. It's very difficult for two conferences to merge. Like, it's almost impossible. They're competing with each other. What commissioner is going to just say, okay, I'll fold in. Kenneth Maynard, thank you for the $5 holler. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. There's also this, let's be honest here. And I'm interested what Mohr After Dark has to say about this. Carla Jenkins TV, $5 holler. I'll get to Mohr here in a second. June 21st, 2026, the 20th anniversary of Big Ten TV announcement. June 21st, 2006. Time flies. Now we're talking about streaming. Yes, we are. Although the Congress is going to try to eliminate or limit streaming. But thank you, Carla Jenkins. Appreciate the $5 holler. Thank you for the heads up on the anniversary. I might add that onto the show tomorrow on a Sunday show. Thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I'm gonna use that information, that knowledge, and we'll try to maybe we'll add something onto the live show tomorrow. Thank you, Carla. Thank you for your generosity. I very much appreciate it. We've got the Evil Badger. He's ready to take a shot at a golden gopher. This Evil Badger maintains that the Badgers will finish higher than the Big Ten, than Minnesota. Sorry, Mad Gopher. Not a chance, my friend. Not a chance is that going to happen. But thank you for the $5 holler, Eva Badger. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. All right. Before we get on, thank you, Eva Badger. Thank you, Kenneth Maynor. Thank you, Carla Jenkins TV. Appreciate it. I appreciate your kindness. Thank you very much. Before we get on to the big story, I have to... somebody is communicating with me, so everybody hold on. It's somebody that I need to communicate when they communicate to me. All of you are really, really, really important. I love all of you. If it wasn't for you, we would not be chopping it up on a Saturday night talking college football. We would not be doing the spotlight on Washington. We would not be talking about the Pac-12. We would not be talking about the MAC. And we're not going to be talking about Silo Mountain and OPD Dunn trying to climb up that mountain if it wasn't for you. But when certain people who are able to give us information that have an incredible track record, even though it's a live show, I never know, my curiosity, I never know what's around the corner. Well, I shouldn't say that. Just hold on, everybody. Hold on. So we did get something here. Okay. All right. It has to do with the next. Okay, we'll continue. Thank you guys very much. We'll get Mohr After Dark. Greg, you can't threaten to close 2 MAC schools in the op-ed and not expect the other 4 MAC schools in the state to not look at options. And I think you're. I think things have already changed from last year and the year before that. And yeah, nothing. Again, this is another example where you got to stay nimble, where you got to stay flexible. We got to keep your curiosity because things do change. And the ties that bind the schools and the MAC conference in the state of Ohio, those ties that bind are starting to loosen according to the chatter behind the curtain. So we'll see where this story takes us. Very, very interesting. And one other thing, Mullen, we're going to get to the Silo Mountain, Edward, the Auburn Tiger. I'm trying to get to it. This is a big Saturday live show. There's one other thing about this, and again, I don't know if it's going to be Toledo and Ohio. The chatter doesn't, but they are the candidate. They are supposedly, and I don't think that comes as a surprise, but they are on the candidate list. But if you look at it from Toledo and Ohio, one thing is, even though you go into the West Coast and you're going to have some games here at home, I mean, you're going to be playing, who are you going to be? You're going to be playing Boise State. I mean, it's your home, and no disrespect to the other MAC school, but your home schedule is going to be a lot better. But the biggest thing is you're going to be playing almost all your games on a Saturday or a Friday. Like in the MAC conference, you're peeling off 2, 3, 4 games. You're playing them Tuesday, Wednesday, November. The Pac-12, it's a step up. It is a big step up in those time slots, even though they're going to be later at night. But those days, it's just, I can see why Ohio and Toledo would be taking another look at all this and going, yeah, more travel, but you're not going to be playing games on Wednesday. I love those games on Wednesday, but it's the sacrifice that the MAC schools have to make to get $1 million. While the Pac-12 is getting probably a little bit over $10 million once the contract matures just a little bit. And they're going to be probably getting 6 to 7 million, 5, 6, 7 as a football only. I'm speculating there a little bit. Some stuff was, but anyway, it's interesting. Let's just put it that way. This story is going to go on. Now, this story, we're going to have to follow this story as time goes on. All right. We're going back in time. We are going back in time once again. Aaron Taylor, January 15th, 2026. Sports Business Journal. We've talked about this before. College football, not so subtle journey toward becoming a Super League. But it ain't going to be a Super League. I mean, forget the term Super League. When you read Super League, think of the term Super Conference or Mega Conference. Because that is where it looks like we're heading to. Or at least the chances have increased greatly over the last month. This is back in January. Remember this. This article was written January 15th. January 15th. We're at June 20th, 6 months ago. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey once tweeted a photo of the book, The Club. It's the definitive account of how the Premier League broke away from the Old English pyramid in 1992. The playbook went like this. A handful of powerful clubs consolidated influence. They broke from a legacy governance. They kept the revenue. They owned the media rights. They built their own world. Sound familiar? Now, forget about the Super League, but look at it from the We're going to talk SEC today. Yesterday we talked Big Ten. The day before we talked Big Ten. Today we're talking Southeastern Conference. Get your mind in the Southeastern Conference perspective. They broke from the legacy governance, NCAA. They kept their revenue. They own their media rights. They're not going to share their media rights. They built their own world. We're going to play each other more often. We may have to do our own playoffs. Sound familiar? Sankey didn't spell out any agenda. He didn't have to. the man leading college football, most powerful conference, was reading the blueprint for the biggest breakaway in sports history. Today, the sport looks like it's following that script. This was 6 months ago, this article. With the player salary cap disguised as revenue sharing already here, and private capital already in play for some conferences like the Big Ten did not go that way. The sport is walking into a professional future that will require roster limits, contracts, cost controls, collective bargaining. You can't run any of that under the current NCAA umbrella without a risk of a lawsuit. And we've talked about it a million times. We've seen it play out exactly like that a million times. But a breakaway conference could. Not a super league, not a merger, a separate silo, a separate SEC conference. And they're talking about it. They're talking about some sort of student advocacy, some student representative, somebody representing them, some sort of cap. It might be a soft cap. They might have the bird rule like the Big Ten. That's why every major pro league is a closed system. Is the Southeastern Conference going towards a closed system? Remember, we talked about this. We've talked about this a couple of times. We're talking about this a third time. ESPN, Fox, NBC, and Amazon have all reportedly, they've already done it. Remember, this is Sports Business Journal. They talked to these media companies. They've already explored the 40 to 50 team breakaway models with national schedules and independent playoffs. Independent playoffs, that's like SEC playoffs, that's like Big Ten playoffs. Again, forget about the Super League. We're talking about super conference silo breakaway. They know where the viewership lives. They know where the money is. They know what's coming if the current trajectory holds. So where does this lead us? Not back to the good old days of balance and make-believe amateurism, although a breakaway isn't a guarantee. It's not. The breakaway is not a guarantee. The quick strike definitely is not a guarantee. It's not even the chalk. But there is some evidence stacking up. Is a breakaway guaranteed? No. But it sure feels like we're drifting toward one, and it's not out of ego, but economics. Those who are driving the money today are focusing on maximizing revenue and minimizing unpredictability. That means roster limits, contracts, cost controls, collective bargaining, and even bringing private capital if you have to. The Big Ten has already done that. Ross Dellinger just had a report a couple of weeks ago that one of the models that Donde Plowman, the Chancellor of Tennessee, is looking at for SEC as one of the options is some sort of collective bargaining, also using private equity into this model somehow, some way. Back to the article. Those aren't football concepts. They're business concepts. And the existing model can't deliver any of them. The breadcrumbs are everywhere. One day soon, we're all going to wake up and realize that college football did suddenly become super conferences silos. It quietly turned into one while everybody was busy arguing about the rankings. Because in the end, money doesn't whisper, it reorganizes. Before we get to your phone calls, I just wanna add in a little bit of communication that I had about this, and now I have received, and I thank you, I received some information during this live show that I had to interrupt, and we're gonna add that into it. Okay? And I teased this at the beginning of the program. I said, you know, nothing is imminent. Nothing is imminent. And we do not believe anything is operational. And I am going to give you the reason, one of them, but a major reason why we don't believe anything is imminent. Okay? One of the reasons why we don't think anything is imminent, why anything is operational. This is one of the things that we look for when things do become imminent. When I can come on here and talk about a hot bubble of action. When we can advance the story. We have been fortunate enough here at Peek Around the Corner and reporters that it is custom for people in media to leak. They are the biggest leakers. Now I've already spilled this a few times on this program. For your long-time listeners, I've already done the deed and talked about that. I'm not putting any source in danger. I'm just talking like a general thing, right? We were able to tell you that the Pac-12 was in major trouble. We could tell you that the Big 12 was the chalk and being able to poach the Pac-12. Remember all those months and months, and we got dragged over the coals by the guy who makes those beautiful charts and everything, but they did not have what was happening on the ground. We did, and we believe we will know when things are happening on the ground here at Peek Around the Corner after 12 years of doing this. The leaks, the information it pertains to this story of a quick strike, of a definite decision on a silo, doesn't seem to be happening right now. In which you would increase your there is no leak pointing to that direction yet, and it may not happen. But this is why we believe nothing is imminent. One of the reasons. It's not the only one, but it's the only one I'm willing to share. I'm trying to explain something to you. I don't come on here and say nothing is imminent just to say it every day for the last 3 years. Or since the Oregon-Washington thing that we broke. But the reason why we have Amazon, Paramount, and Netflix over the mountain, and Opie's sitting there trying to assist the SEC climber and all that stuff, is we have been told, we have been reminded, and this article is another good reminder, the switch can be flipped really quickly. From no leaks to massive flooding. You know, we knew at Peek Around the Corner, we had doors open to us. We delivered to you that Oregon and Washington was going to happen within the next 5 years or within the next 5 months. And if it was going to happen in the next 5 months, these are the things that would need to happen. Kevin Warren would need to leave office. He did. A bunch of other things that the Big 12 would have to poach the Pac-12. They did. And then the Fox came in and said we would deliver this much money to Oregon and Washington inclusion. They did not ask for it. They did not get a dime, nor did they ask for a dime more from CBS or NBC. It came quick. I mean, they prepared. Everybody prepared, right? Everybody war gamed it, right? We delivered you the information, and then it happened. Fox came in. Same thing here. This can happen real quick. Why? Because there's been a lot of valuations, a lot of communications. Amazon, they have a really good... Remember, Amazon has already bid on Big Ten. They've already bid on Big Ten. They bid more money on Big Ten content than CBS and NBC. But at the time, Kevin Warren and the the Big Ten presidents, and there were some universities like Iowa did not want Amazon, so it did not happen. They went with CBS and NBC. But Amazon has already done this valuation stuff. They already know what it would take for them. They would overpay just to get into the college football sports, to get in with the Big Ten. But they've already done the evaluations. They've already done the evaluations on candidates because they know one of the ways that Amazon can get into the Big Ten, one of the ways that Netflix can get into the SEC is to be the bridge, to be the help, to be the next media partner in an expanded conference. An expanded conference that might even have to go silo. An expanded conference that might even have to go into Super League, but we're talking Super Silo Conference. They've already done a lot of the work. They've already done a lot of the work. So we are, it's not imminent. We don't have the leaks. We don't think any of this is operational yet. But this isn't something that's going to be like a 6-month process. If the SEC, their legal counsel, the president say, oh my God, we've got to break away. Let's break away and let's be a 16-team conference for 2 years and then reevaluate. Oh, wait a second, the Big Ten might do something. Maybe we have to expand. Let's have a discussion with ESPN. And there are other media companies out there that kind of have an evaluation already for a bigger SEC conference. Same thing with the Big Ten. It's not going to take 6 months. It's going to turn around real quick. That is the major thing that I wanted to get across today. These media companies have already got a pretty good sense of what they would want. No longer a Super League, but super conferences. If the Big Ten and the SEC decide legally, politically, whatever, economically, that it would be better for them to expand 4 years from now, 5 years from now, or a couple of months from now. And during this live show, a massive chatter behind the curtain. I was reminded of something here. That Amazon we have to make sure we have all this in context, because again, there's a whole lot of people are saying there isn't money for this. The Big Ten can't even think of adding a 19 school. They can't think of adding a 20 school. They can't think of this. And I'm telling you, the Big Ten may not go to 19 school, 20 school, 21, 22 for the next 4 or 5 years. That might be what happens. But I can tell you that's not what the chatter is. That is not what they've gamed out. Because they know they're leaving money on the table if they believe it's going to be better for the member institutions of the conference if they expand. And I was reminded during this live show from very fortunate to have this relationship with this person, that Amazon continues to want Big Ten content. It did not just happen while they bid on the Big Ten media rights. They did this Duke thing, right? The Duke Michigan thing. But Fox said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Big Ten said, whoa, whoa, whoa. But the bigger one is Amazon wanted the rights to the Big Ten championship game in 2027. They wanted to buy it from NBC. But Fox wanted, it was in their contract that they could be the first ones to buy back that content, and they did. Now, maybe they will eventually sell it to Amazon here in the next, or maybe it's going to be part of some piece that's just going to be a comp. But the Big Ten knows that Amazon wants in. Southeastern Conference knows that there's big money out there that wants in. They know this. So we'll get to your phone calls. But climb up Silo Mountain in the hands of the gods? Yes. And those gods, they've already done a lot of the work, and they continue to show a lot of interest. Possibly not for a big package, but a smaller package that they're probably going to be willing to pay prime money for to get into the space. So I just wanted to bring that information to you today. We've been working on it, and let's get to your phone calls. We've already been on the air for an hour and 42 minutes. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We did the I Do Declare updates. You can go back earlier in the program and take a look at that. We've already done the Washington Huskies Spotlight. 55th team we've done this year. You can go back early in the show and take a look at that. We talked about the Pac-12 possible expansion in the near future. The athletic director of the Utah State Aggies says it's certainly on the table. Holy smokes. And of course, we talked about OBD Dunn. OBD Dunn climbing Silo Mountain. The phone lines are open, 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. Warren wanted Rutgers in Maryland. Jim Delaney took Rutgers in Maryland. Jim Delaney wanted North Carolina. He wanted Virginia. He wanted Georgia Tech. What he really wanted is a change in Big Ten demographics. He wanted bigger markets, and he wanted the conference to become a two-region conference. All that was successfully done by grabbing Rutgers and Maryland, and the Big Ten became a lot richer because of it.
Call from
Moen.
Moen. Here comes Moen. Oh, he's going to chew me out. He is going to chew me out. Buckle up. Brace for impact, everybody. The floor is yours.
I'm not going to chew you out, Greg. I think you're wrong on Minnesota Golden Gophers football this season, but I'm not going to chew you out. I mean, it's not like it'd be the first time you were wrong. So,
All right. All right.
I had to throw an elbow. I couldn't help it.
No, that's all right. I'm throwing elbows at you constantly when I'm sure when I'm sure that you're not watching.
Yeah. Yeah, the MAC thing, it's not shocking to me.
Yeah.
The way the situation is, there's the Ohio Department of Higher Education. They kind of make all these decisions. If you actually go back, you'll remember that we talked about it. The Toledo was originally targeted by the Mountain West as well with Illinois.
Yep.
And as it was explained to me, Toledo was told no, they couldn't go because it would do too much damage to the MAC.
Sure. Yes.
Because like I said, there's 6 total MAC schools in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a big conference here in Ohio. So those schools, one of the governor candidates, Vivek Ramaswamy, wrote an op-ed that said, he would look at closing institutions like Akron and Kent State as accredited universities. Now, he came out later and clarified that was not the case, but, that's one of those situations when, were you lying then or are you lying now?
Yeah.
So if that's, and they got to look at that as a possible scenario that he wins election here in Ohio and Akron and Kent State get closed down, and that just leaves it's going to devastate the MAC to lose 2 teams.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, they already don't make a lot of money. It is a regional conference, which, they're light travel. I think the furthest school is UMass.
Yeah.
So it's relatively light travel-wise, but taking 2 schools out of a conference and just saying, well, these schools don't exist anymore, it's going to be hard for a conference, especially the MAC conference, to survive something like that. So it's not shocking that Toledo, Ohio, Miami, Bowling Green all have to figure out what they're going to do next. So
how many are going to have options outside of the MAC though? That's
well, Toledo's one. The Mountain West was interested in them before. Ohio, we know, is one. The Sun Belt has shown interest in them, and they've shown interest in the Sun Belt. Bowling Green and Miami are interesting ones. Bowling Green with Eddie George as the head coach has actually done pretty well with Eddie George. And I think they're going to really do some really great things in the MAC this year. Where they end up, I don't know. If Kent State and Akron both get closed, I don't know that there's a conference that can take all 4.
And what about and maybe Western Michigan, maybe Buffalo would get interest somewhere. I know that Eastern Michigan has been teetering for like 5 years. They're about the poorest school out there, except for Akron.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I mean, it might be a situation. I hate to see it happen. They may have to move down a level in terms of athletics. But I think Ohio and Toledo would have somewhere to go.
Yeah, I think so too.
I live just down the road from Athens, so it's such a university town, Greg. Everything revolves around Ohio U here.
Yeah.
So, great fan base, but they're feeling the crunch too. Everybody's feeling the crunch nowadays. So
Buffalo needs they've needed it forever, and they're not going to get it, but they need a new football stadium. You can't expect the American or anybody else to have an interest in you when you have a track going around your football field at this level. They were going to try to get something done with the Buffalo Bills, but I think they got axed out of that project. So,
meanwhile, but the MAC has shown that they're interested in that. They took Sac State, who has a track around their football field,
I can understand the Sacramento State because they came with money, So
they basically bought their way in like
Yeah.
SMU did with the ACC. So
yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
yeah,
As to the other thing, I think you bring up an excellent point. The Big Ten has had ongoing relationship with Amazon.
yeah,
Amazon has had an immense desire to get into the Big Ten. In fact, they actually offered the Big Ten more money than CBS did. But the Big Ten presidents balked at that. They were still unsure on the streaming thing, where that was going.
yeah.
I think everybody now realizes where streaming is going. The NFL has moved certain packages to streaming. You've got NBA games streaming.
Yeah.
So it just seems like the natural progression that college sports would also move that way. And if you add new members, you add volume, you need a place to show that stuff. And Amazon could be that place. Obviously, you're still going to have the Big Ten Network. You're still going to have games on NBC. You're still going to have games on Fox. You're still going to have games on CBS/Paramount Plus. But adding a streaming partner allows you to add people. Nate, who, I generally disagree with on the Mafia channel, he says there's no more money. And I simply don't agree with that. I think there's more money out there now than ever. Live sports has shown itself to be the one thing, the only thing that gets people to tune in. Record ratings recently on live sports. I'm sure the World Cup ratings are going to be huge. Live sports is still appointment viewing. Sitcoms, dramas, all that stuff is not appointment viewing anymore. It's not like the days when we were young whippersnappers and there was must-see TV on NBC on Thursday nights. It's now television is just dead air until live sports airs. I think streaming's obviously the future.
Yeah, the argument whether there's money or not, I mostly agree with you. I agree with you on that. But and I come back to this: if there is not money out there for Big Ten expansion, if there's not money out there for Southeastern Conference expansion, that is already undervalued, right? Their current contract, the SEC is not getting the money that they should be getting. Everybody knows that, right? So if there is not money out there for the Southeastern Conference to expand, then there definitely isn't more money out there for everybody to make more money. In this idea that if we all pool our rights together, 138 schools, everyone's going to make more money, and that includes the Buckeyes. You can't logically, both those things cannot be true at the same time, right?
Right, but you're looking for logic in Congress.
Well, I'm looking for logic in anybody who is promoting that. Like, there is no money for expansion, conference expansion, but there's all this money out there that if we all just pool our rights together, we're all going to make all this type of money. I don't think both of those can be true at the same time.
Well, no, they absolutely can't be true, because one of them isn't true. Bob Thompson,
exactly.
The president of Fox Sports, said as much. It's not true.
Yeah. And the argument that if Ohio State leaves as a football independent, they can make millions and millions and millions of more dollars. If they join in with 137 other schools, they can make millions and millions and millions of more dollars. But if they stay in the Big Ten, they're being dragged down by Northwestern. And that's been the argument that has been used on this channel and other channels ever since I've started this, and it doesn't make logical sense. There might not be money for Big Ten expansion because we might be going into depression. There might be a war. Who knows? Maybe the interest is going to just because of the industry. Who knows? But right now I can say all the chatter behind the curtain is, look, the Big Ten might make a big mistake, right, Moen? They might expand and it might not work. The SEC might expand and it might not work. But they're being told by everybody that it will work. They're bringing in consultants. They're talking with them. They've got all these evaluations. They've got all these plans. They want to go streaming. They want to go to the international markets. They want to go to the Mid-East. They think this passion, this pageantry of college football could sell in other markets they could never imagine 20 years ago. They're being told all this stuff. So when somebody says, there's no money, they're looking at it going, you're telling us there's all this money if we combine 138 schools, but there ain't money if we want to go SEC 16 to 18. It just makes no logical sense. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. No, that's fine, Greg. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Again, there's a great article, if anybody wants to check it out, on Front Office Sports. It was posted, I believe, on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. The only programming making money, getting eyeballs out there right now is live sports. Mm-hmm. It's live sports. Netflix, Amazon, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on these movies and originals. They're losing money on all those things. Yeah. That's something they're losing money on. Amazon spent money to go get NBA games, and it's something Amazon has made money on. In particular, there's a thing known as churn rate. How long can you keep people on your service? For myself, I don't pay for a full year of Peacock anymore. I pay for it when it's Big Ten football season.
I pay for the whole year because you got to watch The Traders. The Traders is the best show out there.
Okay, that's you, Greg. But once WWE went off there, I stopped with the yearly plan. Because, again, that was something that I had access to year-round, live sports entertainment. That's gone now.
That's why WWE that's why they print money. Because they can guarantee their advertisers at least somewhat a consistent viewership that is going to sit there and watch it. Even though the ratings, of course, the ratings have gone down. That's true for almost everything. But they're providing something to the media partners that other television can't. If it's not a live sport, that no one's watching the advertisements. And I know the WWE, the viewership biggest complaint is, look at all these advertisers. Look at all these advertisements, because people are not used to watching advertisements anymore unless they're watching sports. Other than that, they don't want to watch advertisement. That is why, as you say, live sport content is king, and it's more king than ever before. So that's where we're at. I do think there is money out there.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Greg. There's money out there to be made, and it will be made with streaming partners. I'm sure if Big Ten gets a deal with Amazon, the SEC won't be far behind in a deal with Netflix. Mm-hmm. There's people out there who want to pay them money. It's not like we're living in a barren landscape where there's no money. It's the only programming that actually gets viewers consistently that will sit through advertisements. They not only pay for the service, but then they will also sell advertising on the streaming service. So there's money out there. So it's not impossible for the Big Ten and the SEC to find a revenue source that will allow them to add 2, 4, 6 partners at reduced shares. That's entirely possible. I'm sure Amazon and Jeff Bezos are not hurting for money. Netflix is not hurting for money. There's still more billionaires out there than have ever been in history. There's money out there, guys. So I look to the future. I think the Big Ten having discussions with Amazon is probably what's going to land the next expansion candidates into the Big Ten.
I watch my beloved Golden Gophers get waxed, get crushed by the evil Ohio State Buckeyes. I watched my Golden Gophers get whooped up. They got killed by the Iowa Hawkeyes. I watched my Golden Gophers get whooped by the Oregon Ducks. I watched every minute of every one of those games. That's how powerful that's how powerful live sports is. I watched every moment of it. Every stupid advertisement played on my TV. I sat there in pain, agony and cried. I even did watch parties for at least 2 of those stupid games. That's how powerful live content is. I'll give you the last word, Mohr.
Very funny you brought that up, Greg. I spent about 45 minutes today watching a WNBA game. And I don't even really care for basketball all that much, let alone WNBA.
Who did you have a wager on?
I didn't have a bet on anybody. I watched it for 45 minutes. We sat down to eat lunch, and that was what was on the antenna TV, so we just watched it. But that's just a great point. That shows you how much of a draw live sporting action really is. So,
yeah, it is.
Appreciate you, Greg. Have a good Saturday evening.
Hey, I appreciate you too, and thank you for the massive generosity today. I appreciate it, sir.
No problem. You deserve it, Greg.
Right. Thank you, my man. Beautiful.
Bye-bye.
Beautiful call from the evil Buckeye. Evil Buckeye. Mowing. The Gophers did hold a 3-0 lead over the Buckeyes before the Buckeyes ran them out of the gym. Just remember that.
Call from
Rick.
Rick, the floor is yours. Thank you for calling, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's good to keep up with what's going on in the world of college football.
I'm doing the best I can.
Well, should I say big business?
Yeah, that too.
Because that's really what it is and what it has been for a long time.
Yes.
Once the billion-dollar contracts started rolling in, and then we come to find out the FCC is undervalued. And just like not acknowledging that or failing to acknowledge that. It's another problem when people continue with this student athlete fallacy. They're not student athletes. They're professional athletes.
I just to clear something up, I call them student athletes because as of right now, there is an academic requirement. Once that academic requirement completely falls away officially, then I won't call them student athletes anymore. But I call them athletes in the fact that they're not amateurism anymore. So I want to make sure that's clear. But go ahead. Go ahead.
They're card-carrying members of the academic school to which they're professionally employed. Yeah, I mean, because that's what they are. And so are the classes that they're taking, or allegedly taking, or taking online, or having somebody take online, assisting with them. Because nobody cares if they go to class.
Ooh, no, that's...
Nobody checks if they go to class. Nobody has lost their eligibility for not going to class.
Hold on. That doesn't happen at the University of Minnesota. People have lost your eligibility for not going to class.
What sport?
Football. PJ Fleck.
When?
I mean, that guy, if you don't show up in the first 2 rows with a tie on, you're in trouble. I mean, no, that's not true for everywhere. I'm just letting you know. That's not true for everywhere.
How long ago was Hugo?
PJ Fleck?
No. How long ago was the last student from Minnesota?
Oh, they had a guy hold on. They had a guy transfer last year in the portal. I think it was from Washington, offensive lineman. He did not play at all. He was off the team before we even got into August. or no, before we got into October, excuse me. So it just happened last year. Now, look, there's a fallacy that nobody cares about these kids' education. There's a lot of people that care, but it isn't universal. It's not universal.
They're not kids. None of them are kids.
Okay, men, women. Okay?
There's not a one that's 17. They're not kids.
Okay.
Ask any 18-year-old. They're not a kid.
Okay.
So continue with the fallacy.
I don't know why. I don't know why you're getting so spicy, Rick. I really don't. I don't know. I just gave you my opinion that no, there are people that care that these young men and women go to class. It's not universal, but there are people that care about that. And some of them are getting an education that they would have never have gotten if they did not have a scholarship, and they worked their butt off for the scholarship. They were given a scholarship, and they would not have the opportunity to go to class and get an education. That's all I'm saying. There is a student part of this as of right now. Maybe down the road there won't be. I'm just letting you know why I call them a student athlete. I don't think I'm giving them disrespect. I don't think I'm saying that they're amateurs, because they're not. When I say student athlete, I was just explaining why I say they are student athletes. Go ahead. It's your call.
Because they wouldn't have qualified had they not been an athlete.
Okay.
They wouldn't have had the opportunity if they hadn't have qualified because they was an athlete.
There are a lot of students who go in the portal that Northwestern can't look at, Minnesota can't look at, even Notre Dame can't look at. They don't look at them. They can't accept them in. They look at their transcripts, and they wash out.
Of course.
So there is a student academic part to this. That's why I call them a student athlete.
But they can go to other schools.
Yep, they sure can.
And play football.
Yes, they can.
And get paid for football.
Yes, they can.
And in some cases get paid millions of dollars for football.
Yes, they can, because it's not amateur. It's not amateurism.
Or academic. If you don't go to those schools that you just named.
Okay.
Because you can get around it. And they've been getting around it for years. You disagree with that?
It's not universal. I'm just I said it's not universal.
No.
Okay. Well, let me answer the question that you asked.
Well, there are exceptions.
Let me answer the question that you asked. It's not universal. Some universities take it a lot more serious than others. Some universities who did not take it serious are taking a lot more serious. Some universities are in decline. Some conferences take it a lot more serious than others. I mean, my God, the University of Minnesota basketball program has been bad. Why were they bad? Why are they bad? Because in 1997, they had the best basketball team they ever had. They went to the Final Four. They defeated UCLA in the round of 8. They got to the Final Four, and they almost beat Kentucky. But because a tutor did a paper for a player, the University of Minnesota self-imposed themselves to death. They took the banner off of Williams Arena and they said to the NCAA, all these wins over the Clem Haskin years, now they're all losses. So I cannot. No. Some of these schools If you are a student, you got to be a student. You've got to keep your academics up, or you're not going to play. Now the University of Minnesota doesn't get the wins because of that. They get a lot of losses because of that, especially in their football program. Their hockey program's the same thing. There's higher standards at the University of Minnesota, and they have yet to lower them. So I cannot sit here. They're student athletes. And I don't think I'm giving them any disrespect in saying that. I'll let you finish the call.
Whether or not it's disrespectful is whether or not you want to believe the truth on the football players that are playing major college football today. And the truth is, they're very assisted. They have all the assistance they need to meet the minimum requirements for playing football. Because the minimum requirements for playing football are basically next to nothing. Part of it is attending some classes, providing the course isn't online, in which case your attendance would be taken online, and doing the minimum amount of work necessary, depending upon what class you're in and who your professor, or I should say, I'm sorry, the assistant professor, oh, wait a minute, no, the graduate assistant who is teaching the class requires to get a passing grade. So when you put it on the same level as your typical state high school graduation requirement, it's about the same thing. Thanks for taking the call.
You got it. All right, let's go through the comments here. I do want to thank Mohr After Dark, Studzilla, Cranky Tiger, Mohr After Dark, the Pirate Gator, Kenneth Maynard, Buckeye Greg, the Evil Badger, the Hoosier, Ricky Tungate, Carla Jenkins, Evil Badger, and Kenneth Maynard for your incredible generosity. Thank you, Ricky Tungate, and Mohr After Dark for your massive super chats and everything. I very much appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, most students are barely. Most student athletes. Because most student athletes, for a good share of these athletic departments, are not football players, basketball players. They're getting a stipend, the Alston stipend, and they might be getting a little bit of a rev share and a little bit of NIL. And a lot of these students, there's student athletes that are becoming doctors and educators, and there are great stories out there that will never have gotten the opportunity. So when I call them a student athlete, I don't think I'm insulting them. I'm just, for a large part of these young men and women, there is an academic requirement that they have to fulfill. Is it 100%? No, but it is. It's a requirement. So if the day comes that requirement isn't there for the mass majority of the young men and women, I'll quit calling them student athletes. But I'm going to call them student athletes. Great show, Mr. Freeze. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Again, get your last shots in at me for being Greg the Cooler, because in a couple of months from now, it all begins. It all begins in a couple of months from now. College football. And we're going to be making our picks against the spread for 4 years. 4 years I've had a losing record. Below 50%. Last year, Greg the Cooler was 92 and 94. 2026 is the redemption tour. 2026. This is it. I know this is it. It's gotta be it. It has to be it. I've been breaking down all the tape. 55. We've already done 55 spotlights. 55 teams. We've broken it all down. We know what we're doing. This year is completely different. From 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022. All right, I do want to thank all of you. I appreciate you. And we're going to be coming on live tomorrow, Sunday, June 21st, for more college football. Peek around the corner. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button before you leave. I would have very much appreciated it. And do not forget to ring the notification bell, because if there's breaking news later tonight or tomorrow, we're going to cover it. We are going to cover it. So you got to get yourself notified. Follow us at Flug Empire on X. Sometimes I put out a little bit of a tease that we're going to be coming on live any moment. So cover it on X. Get yourself notified. Subscribe to Peek Around the Corner. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, golden.